My name is Ed Cormier. I work for Pete's RV. I'm their walkthrough specialist. What I'm going to be doing this morning is giving you folks a walk around this 3800 RV Montana camper right behind me. I'll be giving you a walk around the outside to explain all the controls on the outside of the camper in an effort to help you understand how to operate everything on the outside. Then I'm going to be putting on your awning and explaining how that looks and how that operates. And I'll go through the inside as well and do the same thing. This morning we're going to modify my normal walkthrough process just a touch, and I'm going to have all the products with me in hand as we go around, so I can not only tell you how to operate this camper, but show you the products that we sell here at our store to help you use and take care of this camper as well. So with that, let's get started. On this unit here, this is the back of your furnace. Okay, it says hot right there. You can believe it. Don't leave any plastic furniture leaning against your camper because it will melt it. Another thing to consider in the back of your furnace is insects like the smell of propane. So in the store we have available these screens. They're called mud dauber screens or mud wasp screens. They can be placed over this opening with holes in the screen that's too small for insects to build nests in the back of your furnace. In some areas of the country that's a real problem, so we have these available to make sure that's not a problem for you. We also have screens like that available for the hot water tank as well. And we also have them available for the back of your refrigerator, which I'll point out when we get to the other side of the camper in just a moment. Okay, here we have the back of the refrigerator on this Montana. You'll notice that there's vents here that are in place so this refrigerator can breathe and get the air that it needs to operate. And these are those mud dauber screens that I mentioned just a moment ago. These screens come apart and they fit inside each one of these vents, again, to cover it from wasps from building nests in the back of your refrigerator. Okay, here we have the hot water tank. I'll open this up so you can see what it looks like inside. Here we have a few things that you need to understand and consider when you're using your trailer. First of all, there's a little switch right here that says on and off. This is to turn on the electric heating element in this hot water tank. Okay, there's two ways to heat the water in this camper, one with electricity and one with gas. In this particular camper, there's two switches on the inside, one for electric and one for gas. So in this unit, you can turn this switch on, leave it on, and control the electric portion from the inside as well as the gas portion from the inside. We also have a drain plug here. So once a year when this is winterized, this drain plug needs to be removed so that the water can be drained from the hot water tank. Now, if you allow me just to set this down for just a moment. Connected to this drain plug is an anode rod, like this rod right here. This is a sacrificial aluminum rod, okay? It's there so that the minerals in the water don't attack the sides of your hot water tank. Instead, it'll attack this anode rod, which needs to be replaced every once in a while. Sometimes they'll last a year, sometimes they'll go 2 or 3 years, depending on the minerals in your water supply. Also, every fall when you winterize this tank, the minerals in the water plus the stuff from your anode rod that gets eaten up here needs to be flushed out of the bottom of your tank. We have this tank flushing tool made purpose for this. So with the drain plug out, you put a hose on the end of this, put some water pressure in the tank, and it'll wash out any sediment that's left in the bottom of your tank so you can be sure that it's good and clean every year. Here we have an outdoor 120 volt plug. Whenever your camper's plugged in, this plug here is energized. Now this plug is connected to a GFI plug, ground fault interrupt plug, inside the camper. And these are very sensitive. If you're outside here and you have a television plugged in here or a rotisserie from a barbecue grill, and if the grass is wet or if it's raining outside, sometimes it's all it takes to trip the GFI indicator on this. If that's the case, don't panic. Go inside and press the little reset button on the inside and this will come back to life. It's also possible to trip that GFI indicator inside the camper if you have a lot of excess moisture inside the camper. And that just means you're not venting it well enough. And later on we'll explain how to use the vents in the roof to vent your campers real good so that the problem doesn't happen. Here in the storage compartment in this particular Montana camper, we have provisions here so you can take the television out of the bedroom in this unit, mount it on this bracket right here, plug it in here, and you've got TV you can watch outside, which is attractive to a lot of folks. If you decide to do that, we have a place here where you can plug a cable in here. A lot of campgrounds have provisions for cable TV at your site, so if that's the case, you can plug your cable in the back here and have cable service on your television outside here. Or we also have a place where you can plug in a satellite. For you folks that already have satellite dishes at home, did you know that you could bring your black satellite box with you when you travel? And with an inexpensive portable satellite dish such as this, you can have your satellite service wherever you go. When you're setting one of these up, a satellite finder meter such as this that we sell here from Winegard makes a setup for your satellite dish really quick and easy. Within 5 or 10 minutes you can be all set up and watching your favorite satellite shows here at your camper, wherever your camper is when you're traveling. Here we have one of the 2 propane tanks in this Montana unit here. There's 2 30-pound tanks. Okay, behind the tank here is a regulator. Now this regulator is used to choose which tank you want to draw your gas from. There's a little arm on top of the regulator. This little arm points to the tank that you're using. Right now it's pointing to the left, so we would be drawing gas from this tank here. Okay, so normally what we would do is open up this valve on both of these tanks, and the gas would be drawing from this tank. When this tank becomes empty, the regulator allows it to automatically go to the next tank, draw gas from the tank on the other side of the camper. This little gauge here will turn red, indicating that this tank is now empty. You can flip this arm over to that other tank, and now you can go get this tank filled at your leisure. In the meantime, your camper has never really run out of gas. We also have these little gas gauges that you can put on top of these tanks. Without something like this on the tank, all you really know is that either the tank has gas in it or it's empty. There's no other indicator. With this gas gauge, it gives you an indicator of how much gas you have in the tank, so you have a better idea of how much you have left to use in the camper. Here we are on the left side of the front storage compartment in this Montana. I would just like to point out that in the floor here, you'll notice there's a cutout. Now, one of the things that we sell here at Pete's is a generator as an option for these big fifth wheels. Should you decide to get the generator, this cutout will be removed. The generator will be mounted on the floor. This generator is big enough to run everything you need in the camper, so you can run your air conditioners, your microwave, everything you have all at the same time, and it does a real nice job. Also, this generator is LP powered, so you don't need to worry about bringing any gas cans with you. It'll take its energy from the gas tanks that are already installed in the camper. Here we are at the front of this Montana fifth wheel. I just want to point out this particular unit has a nice MORryde hitch. This is a shock absorbing hitch. It really makes for a nice smooth ride in your pickup. I happen to have one in my own camper, and I can tell you for sure this works real well. Now, there's 2 or 3 other products I'd like to point out here. This first one here is a lube plate. Now, if you have a fifth wheel hitch in your truck, what this does is it goes on top, it goes in on this pin here and negates the need to have to grease the top of your fifth wheel hitch. There's nothing much worse than having a fifth wheel hitch covered with grease so that everything you store in your truck is always messy. This here, make sure you never have to grease that. It makes for a nice, smooth, lubricated connection between your trailer and your truck. We also have a fifth wheel kingpin lock here. This is what it looks like. Okay, it goes around this pin. So when you park your camper and you're away from your camper with this lock on the pin, you can be sure that no one else can back underneath it and take your camper away. It's another one of those products we sell inside our store here at Pete's. Another product that we have that works real well in these fifth wheel trailers is a big level like this. This level gets mounted right on the top of your pin box like this with a couple of brackets. This little kit here has a bracket for each side. It gets mounted on each side of your pin box. This level gets mounted in between. So now when you're backing onto your site, you can look at this level in the rearview mirror of your truck, and it's very easy to see. It makes for a quick, easy setup on your camper. Also, when you're backing into your trailer to set up your trailer, if you use this mirror, you can see the hitch looking from your pickup, and it makes it real easy to line your truck up underneath the hitch and connect to your trailer. Another thing we have here is a light right here. It's an LED light that can be turned on from inside the camper. So if you're hitching up at night, this light shines on the level that you're going to mount on the pin box here. Again, it makes for a quick, easy, effortless hookup at nighttime. In a few moments, folks, we move to a different camper. This happens to be a Cougar, model 26 SAB, and this already has a bubble level mounted on the front of it. I wanted to show you what it looks like when it's all mounted on the trailer. As you can see, these units all leveled off. You can also get a good feel for how easy it is to see this from the rear view mirror of your truck when you're backing up. Okay, and also how this light would shine right on this mirror at night if you're hooking up at night. What I want to show you now is a better, faster, easier way to setting your camper up than those of you that may have used boards underneath your campers to level your camper before. Okay, this is called a tri-leveler. As you can see, it's a 3-level ramp, and we use these to level our campers with. Using this product, you'll save yourself 20 to 30 minutes setting up your camper, and you can get your camper exactly level when you use this. The way to do this is to place it behind the low side tire on your site. You're never going to find a campsite that's perfectly level, so you're going to place that behind the tire that's on the low side of your site. And as you back your trailer onto this ramp, you're going to check that bubble level that we mounted on the kingpin in the front there. When it gets level, you stop, and this chalk is made to go underneath the tire. And if you back up far enough, this chalk will lock in these grooves to make sure your trailer is locked so it can't roll. You put one of these on each side, with this underneath just one tire, and it's enough to level up your camper. Now we'll demo that right now and see how that works. There, as you can see, we need just one of them. The front tire stays on the ground, the second one comes up the ramp. It's enough to level up your camper. When your bubble says level, you stop, you chock your wheels, and you're all set up. It's really that easy, folks. The other nice thing about this setup is when your camping weekend is all done and you've backed off this ramp, if there's any mud or bugs stuck to that ramp, a quick wash with a hose, you give it a shake, now you can put it in your camper. Everything stays nice and clean, and it doesn't weigh anything. It's nice and light, so you're not carrying around a lot of heavy boards with you. Now once you get your trailer set up and all leveled off, there's just a couple other products here I'd like to show you that can work real nice. Now in this fifth wheel trailer, like all fifth wheels, they tend to be taller than a travel trailer or a bumper pull trailer. And one of the comments we get from a lot of customers is that when they're walking around inside of it, even after it's all set up and your stabilizers are all down, you can still feel just a little bit of movement inside the camper. One product that we found that works real well for eliminating most all of that movement is one of these deluxe chocks that goes in between the tires. You simply put it here in between the tire like that, and with the supplied wrench, you turn this nut and it spreads the jack between the tires like that. And you can see that's getting wider and wider, and when it locks between the tires, it'll stop almost all that movement inside the trailer. We have found that for a lot of people, one of them is enough. For some trailers, you need a second one on the other side. Okay, for some of our trailers that have the tires that are spread quite wide apart, we do have another model here that's designed to work with the tires that are spread real far apart. I use this product on my own camper, and I can tell you for sure, folks, that it works real well. Here we are in the back of this Cougar fifth wheel. Now on the back of every fifth wheel, we have a couple of stabilizer jacks like this. Now these are stabilizer jacks. These are not leveling jacks. They cannot be used to level the camper with. That's not what they're designed for. Their sole purpose in life is to keep the camper from moving when you're walking inside of it, just to stabilize it. So once you've used your tri-leveler to level the camper up with, okay, then you're going to put down these rear stabilizers. Now, supplied with every camper is a hand crank to put these down by hand, where we have another little thing that works really nice. It goes in the front of a battery operated drill like this, and by using a drill like this, you can see it's a whole lot easier to lower this jack down. You just put this down good and firm on the ground, and that's it. Again, they're not to be used to level the camper, just to stabilize it. Here's something else for you folks to consider when you're setting up a fifth wheel camper or a travel trailer as well, for that matter. On the bottom of your landing gear and on the stabilizers in the rear, we have these pads. Now if you're setting your camper up on soft ground at all, and if you're concerned that the size of that pad is not big enough to stop it from sinking into the ground, we do have these link blocks here that can be used underneath each pad to spread the weight around, so it'll minimize the amount of distance that your pads will sink into the ground. One other product here, folks, that I'm really excited about, and I'd like to explain to you how to use this. When I do my walkthroughs, a lot of people ask me, how do I change a flat tire if I get a flat tire in these? There are no jacks or provisions that come with these campers to change a flat tire, okay? Some people decide to bring a jack with them, or a hydraulic jack. Those are very dangerous. People have been injured jacking these trailers up with a hydraulic jack. This product here is something I'll show you in a moment that you can be used to change a flat tire very safely with no danger. Okay, what you're going to do is put it behind the good tire on whatever side of the camper you have a flat on. Assume for a second that that front tire is flat. We're going to back this trailer onto this here. You'll actually lift that tire off the ground, which will enable you to take it off, put your spare on, tighten it back up, and you can put the camper on the ground. You don't have to get underneath the camper. There's no jacking involved. This is a very safe, quick way of doing this. And right now we'll demonstrate how that works. There. So as you can see, now that front tire is off the ground completely, enabling you to change it very easily, very safely. When it's back on the trailer, you just pull this off the ramp, and now you're done. This little ramp here weighs almost nothing, doesn't take up any space, it's nice and clean. And again, it is the very safest way to change a tire on your trailer. Now we're on the opposite side of the same Cougar camper we've been at for the last few minutes here. Now I wanted to point out that this slide has a slide topper on top of it, which has several advantages. While it's coming out, you'll notice that the slide topper stays stationary, and the slide comes out unrolling the canvas on top of it, which provides a couple of advantages. First of all, it keeps the top of your slide nice and clean. So if you're in a campground that has a lot of messy trees, you don't have to worry about any debris on top of your slide, which is one thing that I try to point out to people that have bought a camper with slides on it and without the slide toppers. It is necessary to get up there and brush that off every time so there's no debris in there when they close the slide. With the slide topper on it, you don't have to worry about that. Also, on a rainy day, all the rain will come off the top of your slide, and you can bring the slide in without fear of having any standing water on top of the slide getting inside your camper. Another advantage of it is it provides a good layer of shade above your slide, which can keep your camper quite a lot cooler. And it goes in the same way. Everything rolls up automatically, rolls against the side of the camper, and nothing you have to touch, and it really is very easy to use. We install a lot of them here at Pete's, and people are very happy with them. We're back here at this Montana again, and I'm going to explain what's going on inside this compartment here. Right above here we have hot and cold water, okay, and there's a quick disconnect fitting that we can use this hose on. This hose comes with every Montana like this. It goes in here, and this end is like this so that you can put a garden hose on in this if you wish. Some people find it very handy to have an extra hose outside the camper. This also can be used as part of your sewer flush, which I will get into in just a moment. Right here is your city water connection. So if you're at a campsite and you have water supplied at the campsite, you're going to want to put a hose in there and you'll have water inside your camper. Now, a couple important things to keep in mind. First of all, you always want to use a white hose. You don't want to use your green garden hose from home. If you ever had a drink of water out of a green hose, you know what it tastes like. It kind of tastes like rubber. So if you use a green hose in your camper, your coffee and your spaghetti is all going to taste like rubber. So use a white hose. Okay? You should also always use a water pressure regulator on this hose. Now, some campgrounds will run water pressure high enough to cause you leaks inside this camper. Okay? With a water pressure regulator on your hose, this will make sure the water pressure inside the camper never goes above 50 psi. So it gives you a margin of safety to ensure you never have to have a weekend spoiled by a water leak within your camper. This is very inexpensive insurance, if you will, and I carry one in my camper all the time, and I never hook up the water supply without one. Also, when you're hooking up your hose to here, it helps if you have an elbow that goes in here. I don't know if I can explain what the elbow looks like. It goes on here so that your hose doesn't come out and it gets kinked with the weight of the water on the hose here. Which you can't see right here, but there's a couple little hatch covers that open up, and you can run your hoses and all your services up through the bottom of the camper to here. You can close and lock this door while all your services are coming in the camper, which is a real nice feature of these Montanas. Okay, this bottom valve right here is a sewer flush. Now you've got two sewer valves here. You've got one for your black tank and one for your gray tank. Your black tank is for your toilet. Your gray tank is your shower and your sink in the bathroom in this particular unit here. So when your tank is full, utilizing a monitor panel inside the camper, which we'll show you in a little bit here, when your black tank is nearly full, you pull that valve and drain the tank. Now you only want to drain that tank when it's nearly full. You want a lot of water in that tank. The more water the better, so that when you pull the valve, the weight of the water pushes all the solid material out the pipe and you can empty the tank. When you've pulled the valve and you can no longer hear anything running out your sewer pipe, if you use this blue hose here, connect it on top to the water faucet and connect this end here to your sewer flush and turn the water on, what that will do is send a stream inside your black water tank. It'll rinse the sides of your tank, agitate any solid material left on the bottom, and complete flushing anything out the bottom of the tank. It's a real nice system to make sure your tank is nice and clean. For anyone that's been camping for quite a while, they'll tell you that's a super nice feature to have in your camper. Okay, these two valves here are also part of the winterization process, again, which I'm not going to get into today at this time. This one here is to fill your freshwater tank in your camper. Okay, this camper has the ability to carry approximately 60 gallons of fresh water with you if you're going to an area where you're camping and there's not a water supply at the campsite. If you have a hose inside of here, for example from home, if you want to fill your tank up before you leave home to get to your campsite, with a simple flip of this valve and your hose connected here, you can fill a freshwater tank that's towards the rear of this camper. There's also another way to fill it in the back too. So if all you have, for example, is a 5-gallon bucket, you can use that to fill a freshwater tank if you need to. But this here makes it far more convenient. Okay, now I'm going to turn around here for just a moment. There's a couple things going on over here, which I'm going to describe right now. Right here we have 3 connections for either cable or satellite, so you can get some good TV service inside your camper. This top one here is for your coach cable. A lot of campgrounds now offer cable TV service. So if you bring a piece of coax with you, you can connect to the campground cable TV service and have some excellent TV watching inside your camper. We also have two other outlets here for satellite TV. Now when we were on the other side of the camper, I showed you what a portable satellite dish works, what it looks like. You can connect one to your living room satellite service and one to your bedroom satellite service. So you can have different channels in each one of those two rooms within the camper. Right here we have a battery disconnect switch. Now it's important to understand what that switch is for. Inside your camper you have a propane leak detector, which is hardwired directly to your camper battery. It's a constant draw on your battery. So if you were to park this at home for a while and not have it plugged into power, that propane leak detector would eventually draw down your battery. Okay? If you utilize this battery disconnect switch, that shuts your battery off or disconnects it, and it won't allow your propane detector to draw your battery down. There's a couple important things to understand about that when that switch is off. When it's off, even though your camper is plugged into power, it will not charge your battery. Okay, the trickle charger built in your camper is effectively disconnected from your battery when that switch is off. Also, if you're towing this with your vehicle and you have a a charge line in your vehicle, with that switch off, the charge line from your vehicle will not recharge your battery. So the time to use that battery disconnect switch is really when your camper is parked and not plugged in. On the bottom here we have two valves. These are your low point drains for your plumbing. Now in the fall when you winterize this, you utilize those two valves to drain all your plumbing before the antifreeze gets inserted into your lines. And again, that'll be the subject of a follow-on video. I have moved over to this Bullet Premier trailer. I wanted to use this trailer as an example on how to go through the process of dumping your sewer. Okay, like the Montana, we have a black tank valve and a gray tank valve, and we also have a sewer flush. So on the side of every camper we have a pipe that comes out the side of the camper like this. It's got a cover on it. You always want to travel with that cover on, okay? Now, before you dump your sewer, of course, you have to connect your sewer hose. I brought here one of the kits that we sell. This has got two 10-foot hoses in it and all the fittings you need to get into the ground. This is good quality 18 mil plastic. It's a real good quality kit. It's what I use in my own camper. So, to hook up the hose to your camper, the first thing you're going to want to do is hook up one of these clear plastic connectors. You put that on there like that, then the end of the hose connects to this, the other end of the hose goes into the ground. Now you can pull your black tank valve. When you can't hear any water run out the end of that pipe, using your sewer flush, you want to put a garden hose on there and turn the water on. And again, what that'll do is rinse the sides of your black tank, agitate any solid material left on the bottom, and hopefully rinsing everything out the bottom of the pipe. With this clear plastic connector here, you can see what's coming out of your black tank. When you've got a good stream of clear water coming out of it, now you know your tank is clean. You don't have to wonder, did I get it all? You can see for sure that it's all empty. And when you're done, you shut off your sewer flush, you close your black tank valve, you open up your gray tank valve, and using that gray water to rinse the pipe with to make it a little less untidy to deal with. I'd like to show you one more product that we have for sale in our store here. For people that own campers that do not have a sewer flush built into it, you can utilize a clear plastic connector like this that has a provision for a garden hose. So when you've pulled your black tank valve, you can no longer hear anything running out the hose anymore. By putting this on the end of your sewer pipe, running a garden hose in there and turning water on full blast, it'll send a stream of water up inside your black tank, agitate anything left in that tank, and finish flushing it out the tank. This is a real handy feature and eliminates having to bring a hose inside your camper, running it down inside your toilet, and running a hose inside that to finish cleaning out your tank. So this is a lot handier option than that. I'm here at the same Bullet Premier trailer we were at a moment ago. I want to talk to you about tires and wheel bearings. Okay, in the center of each one of these axles there's a little hubcap right here. And if you feel it on there with your finger, there's a little tiny slot where you can pry off this hubcap with a screwdriver. Underneath this hubcap you're going to find a soft black rubber plug. That rubber plug can just be peeled off. Underneath that you're going to find a grease fitting. Okay, so the recommendation is that every spring you'll give that 4 or 5 squirts from your grease gun, and every 2 to 3 years the recommendation is to take the hubs apart and repack the wheel bearings by hand. Okay, by doing that, these wheel bearings should last the life of your camper. On your tires, you should keep your tires covered. Okay, the UV radiation from the sun is the biggest enemy of these tires. By keeping them covered, you'll greatly increase the life of your tires. We sell several different styles and sizes of wheel covers inside the store here. Okay, the way they match these up, there's a size chart in the back. So match up the size tires you have with the size cover to make sure you get the right size cover. Okay. On my own camper, whenever I park my camper, I always cover the tires, even if I'm just camping for a weekend. I'm a firm believer that it really does help the tires last a lot longer. The other aspect of that is that if you keep them covered, it keeps the sidewall rubber on these tires nice and soft like it should be. So when you're using your camper, your tires are a whole lot safer. Having a flat in one of these trailers is not fun, and keeping your tires covered will make sure that doesn't happen. I'm still at the side of this same Premier Bullet trailer here, and I want to show you our power cord. This particular unit has a 30 amp cord. It's approximately 25 foot long, which is standard for most of our campers. A couple things I want to point out. First of all, this style plug is what you'll get at most every campground you go to. Okay, it's very, very seldom you'll get a plug that doesn't match this at a campground. If you need to plug your camper in at home, like for example, if you want to camp in your driveway or get it set up before you go camping, you'll need an adapter like this to plug this cord into your house. This plug goes in here like this, and now on the other end, it allows you to plug this into a standard style socket which you would have in your home. Okay, something to keep in mind. When you are plugged into a plug like this, do not use your air conditioner. Your air conditioning unit will draw more power than this style plug can provide. Everything else in the camper is fine, but don't use your air conditioner. Okay, now I have two other style plugs I'm going to show you here. This one here is for a 50 amp trailer. Now that big Montana that we looked at earlier this morning had a 50 amp service, which is a 4-prong plug. So again, if you want to plug your camper, your 50 amp camper, into a 30 amp plug at a campground, you'll need an adapter that goes from 50 to a 30 amp plug that matches this one. This adapter here will get you into most any campground you want to go to. And again, if you want to go and plug your camper in at home with a 50 amp camper, you will need one of these here, which will get you from 30 amps to a conventional house style plug. So you can go from 50 to 20. Okay, and lastly, I want to show you is one of these style plugs. Now a lot of people buy these because they're less expensive than one of these here. Okay, they also don't work quite so well. The weight of the camper cord tends to pull this out of the socket, so people have a hard time keeping them plugged in. This style here, the weight of the cord pulls right straight down, so it stays in the plug. It isn't so you have to pull out. But they both do work, and they're both available here at the store at Pete's. If you happen to be camping at a campsite where there's no electricity provided at the site, here at Pete's we do offer a complete line of generators from 1,000 watt up to 6,600 watts. This particular line of generators is up to 2 decibels quieter than the comparable size Honda generator, which is a very nice feature. If you've ever been at a campground where there's a lot of noisy generators, you know how important it is to have a nice quiet generator. Okay, our smaller generators are pull start. Our bigger generators are electric start, which is a very nice feature when you have a big motor on a generator. Okay, the last thing I want to tell you is about these adapter plugs. Some generators have a 4-prong twist lock. Some generators have a 3-prong twist lock, and our very small generators have a conventional style house plug. So no matter which size generator you get, we can hook you up with the correct adapter to make sure you can plug it into your camper. And one other thing I want to tell you is that we have generators big enough to power a big Montana fifth wheel with 2 AC units, which will run all the time, down to the smallest pop-up camper and everything in between. We are now at the back of this Montana fifth wheel on the driver's side of the fifth wheel. And behind this little door is the way you would fill your freshwater tank. Now, as I pointed out earlier, you can fill this freshwater tank using the power fill lever inside that side compartment if you have a hose connected to the camper, or you can simply insert a hose into here and fill a tank this way as well. Okay, and a little tip that I'll give you folks: when you're putting your hose in here, you turn the water on, the air comes up this little vent pipe right here. Sometimes the air doesn't come out as fast as the water goes in, so it builds a little bit of positive pressure inside the tank. So when you pull the hose out there to see if it's full, don't stand right in front of it, because sometimes it'll spurt some cold water right back at you. Other than that, it's pretty easy to fill. A couple things I want to point out on the side of this Montana fifth wheel. Up here we have a vent that's over your kitchen cook stove. Now when you turn on your fan on the inside, that'll exhaust your cooking odor from outside the camper. But there's a couple little clips in there, and you have to roll those clips down so that when you turn the fan on, that little door can open. Something to keep in mind when you're traveling, you want to always make sure to put those clips in the secure position to keep that door from fluttering in the wind when you're going down the road. Over here we have the back of your refrigerator. Now this is just an access panel for technicians to use when they have if they ever need to work on your refrigerator. Chances are you'll never have to open this panel at all. There's nothing in there for you to touch or adjust. We're now on the back of our Montana fifth wheel, and a couple things I want to point out. First of all, there's a hitch back here that looks like a trailer hitch. It's really designed for a bike rack. Okay, we sell several different styles of bike racks in the store here, and you can easily carry 2 or 3 bicycles in the back of this camper with no problem at all. Also, I want to point out we have a ladder in the back of this fifth wheel here, which is very handy to get up on the roof. Okay, you'll need to do that to do some of your maintenance items, which I'll be talking about in a few minutes. Here we are on the side of one of our Mountaineer Edition fifth wheels. What I'm going to talk about now for the next few minutes is the awning and a couple of products we have to go underneath the awning and also to help you take care of your awning. First of all, let me put the awning out with this remote control that we have here. As you'll see, it comes out all by itself, and it's just a one-person job. So this is real popular with the ladies who buy these campers. They can do the awning all by themselves now. All right, so right now the awning is fully extended. As you can see, it's pitched away from the camper like you need it to be to make sure the water runs off in good shape. It's also possible on these awnings to have one side higher than the other. And again, if you're in for some real heavy showers, having one side of the awning higher than the other will enable the water to run off real well, and you don't have to worry about the water pooling on the awning. To do that, it's a matter of loosening up this knob right here and pulling down on the awning arm and then tighten the knob up. That'll pitch the awning low on this side to run off the water, or you can do the same thing with the other end of the awning as well. Okay, for that. Now, after you get this awning out, it's highly recommended you put a strap on each side. We have a couple different strap options here. This one here is the one that works best with these electric awnings. This kit has 2 straps in it and 2 augers that screw into the ground. The recommendation is to put one strap around each end of the main tube in the awning right up here to tie it down to the ground. It only takes a small gust of wind to raise heck with these awnings, so always use your straps. We also have a different style awning tie down here. This one here is one big strap that goes all the way up across the awning down the other side with an anchor on each side. This particular style works best for campers that have an awning that's a manual style, not like these electric ones. So we have both of these styles available here at the store. Now, underneath your awning, we have these mats available. You can cover the grass area underneath the awning. It makes it much cleaner to go in and out of your camper. We have many different styles and sizes to choose from here at Pete's. If you decide to buy one of these to go underneath your awning, you'll need to get a little kit like this, which is some long stakes and some of these big washers, which tie down the corners of your awning mat to make sure the wind doesn't blow it away. And to make it convenient to take care of it, we also sell these bags here that you can put your awning mat into, so when you're moving from campsite to campsite, you don't have to worry about this thing getting all dirty and making a mess inside your storage compartment. One last thing I want to mention at this point is we have these RV step rugs, okay, to cover your stairs going in and out of your camper. They go on very easily. It's just a matter of wrapping it around the stair and attaching some springs on the back side to hold it tight. These work really good for wiping your feet going in and out of your camper. They're weatherproof. You can leave them on there all the time. They'll fold right up with the step without a problem. We're up here on the roof of the Montana that we've been looking at most of the day today. A couple things I wanted to bring to your attention. First of all, as far as putting this camper up for the winter, our recommendation is that you cover the air conditioners with an air conditioner cover. Okay, there's many different styles and sizes of air conditioners, and we have covers that'll match any style and size that you have. By putting this cover over your AC unit, it protects this plastic shroud from the UV rays of the sun for 6 months of the year when it's up for the winter. It also prohibits any squirrels or any other animals from building nests up underneath that cover and then causing you problems in the springtime. Another product that we have are these aeroflow covers right down here. Now, most every camper we have has vents like this in the ceiling, which can be opened up to allow air movement inside the camper. When it rains, with that cover open, the rain comes in the camper. With one of these aeroflow covers over here, they just simply slip over like that and they're fastened to the roof of your camper. Now you can leave that cover open all the time. You never have to worry about the weather coming in, and it passes air on 3 sides of the cover. So it makes for good airflow, and again, you don't have to worry about the elements coming in your camper. One other thing I'll bring to your attention, our recommendation is that for the winter time, you should either cover this camper with an RV cover made purpose for this size and style camper, or don't cover it with anything. And in a minute, I'll show you what one of those RV covers looks like when we get down on the ground. As I mentioned when I was up on the roof, folks, our recommendation is that you should either cover your AC unit with a cover or cover your entire camper with a whole camper cover. Okay, this is an example of what one of our covers looks like. We have covers that will cover travel trailers, fifth wheels, pop-ups, Class A motorhomes, Class E motorhomes. If you've got a camper, we've got a cover for you. Okay, with one of these campers, it'll keep your entire camper covered for the winter, and that way you don't have to worry about getting just a separate AC cover. One thing I didn't mention when we were up on the roof, if you decide not to cover your camper with anything, our recommendation is that you not shovel any snow off your camper. The snow will not hurt it. You'll do more damage than anything else if you climb up there in the wintertime, so stay off it when there's snow on the roof. It will not hurt it. We're back here on the side of our Montana fifth wheel, and I have a few cleaning products here that I want to explain to you. First of all, this camper has a rubber roof on it. All the new campers that we sell, and most of the used campers that we sell, all have rubber roofs on them. Our recommendation is that these rubber roofs be cleaned twice a year for several reasons. First of all, the cleaner you keep the roof, the less you're going to get your gray stains on the side of the camper, and every camper gets them. Secondly, it gives you an excuse to get up on the roof twice a year. While you're up there, you want to check the caulking all around the perimeter of the roof and everywhere you have something sticking up through that roof. If any of your caulking ever looks bad, get yourself a tube of rubber roof caulking and repair the damage. Now be sure not to use any silicone caulking or any kind of house caulking. It has to be rubber roof caulking. It's the only thing that will stick to that rubber membrane up there. And the last thing that wash does for you is it leaves behind the UV blocker. So just like your rubber tires, which ought to be protected from the sun, your rubber roof needs protection as well. And the UV blocker left behind from this wash is like having sunscreen on your arms. It does the same thing for your roof. On the sides of your camper, this camper should be waxed once or twice a year. I know it's a big job. This product here makes it go a whole lot faster than using the old-fashioned car wax. This is a one-step process. You spray it on, you wipe it around with a soft cotton cloth, and that's it. It's sort of like using Windex to wash a window. It makes a big job go real fast, and it does a really nice job on the side of your camper. This product here is for cleaning your awning. Okay, the recommended way to use this is to put the awning out fully extended. Spray this really good on the inside of your awning, and then roll your awning back up. Leave it that way for 5 or 6 minutes. That way both sides of the awning will get the benefit of having been sprayed with this. Then you can unroll your awning, hose it off. If there's any more stubborn areas, you can use a brush on those stubborn areas. This product's been on the market for a long time. It works really good. Okay, now on your slides, this particular camper has 3 slides. Okay, on the inside of your camper, there's a fascia that goes all the way around the inside of each slide. Behind that fascia, there's a rubber gasket. That rubber gasket or rubber seal keeps the weather out. That rubber needs to be kept nice and soft and pliable so that it can keep the weather out. The way to keep it that way is to use this product here, this slide out rubber seal treatment. Again, the recommendation is twice a year when you're doing your roof and washing your camper. Go inside your camper, bring the slide in about a foot or so, spray some of this stuff on a nice clean rag, and wipe down that rubber seal all on the inside of your slide. That'll keep that rubber nice and soft. Also, on the outside of your slide, you'll notice there's a rubber seal that comes in against the side of your camper when this slide is closed. You also want to spray this on that rubber out there as well, especially that because it's in the weather all the time, and also, under the sun all the time. Now, on a lot of our campers, it has a rack and pinion mechanism which pushes the slide out and pulls it back in. Now that needs to be lubricated again a couple times a year. Our recommendation is that you use this dry lube. Okay, you don't want to use any kind of a wet lubricant like oil or grease or any kind of a spray wet lubricant, because any dust or grit in the air will stick to that, and then you'll grind it in that mechanism every time you move that slide out and pull it back in. If you utilize this product here, it keeps everything well lubricated and no debris will stick to it, so it won't wear out that mechanism prematurely. Okay, once you've washed your roof, taking care of waxing your camper, and in between those times, this Cork-A wash and dry here, or wash and wax, excuse me, is a real good product for keeping your camper clean. Put it in a bucket like you would a car wash bucket and wash the side of your camper. It works real fast. Right over here I have a collapsible bucket that you can use that this brush happens to fit into real easily. This brush has an expandable handle, and from the ground you can watch the entire sides of this big fifth wheel or your travel trailer or whatever else you have with you. One other thing I should point out is this ladder here. Okay, when you're waxing the side of your camper, it's really handy to have a ladder so you can climb up and do the upper sides of your camper. This collapsible ladder here is lightweight. This happens to be an 8-foot model. We do have another model that's 12 foot long, and I'm going to demonstrate how small a package this thing will actually fold into. It's just a matter of pulling in these clips and the whole ladder collapses like that. You go right down to the ground, and now you've got an 8-foot ladder that makes into a package this size here. It very easily stores in your camper. That way you've got a nice ladder to use wherever you are. One other safety item I thought I'd mention to you folks while we're doing our walk around here is mirrors for your tow vehicle. Okay, a big trailer like this Montana they're big and wide. It's going to be wider than your tow vehicle. If you don't have some good wide towing mirrors on it, you're not going to be able to see around the back of your trailer when you're going down the road. I just want you to know that at Pete's we do have a complete line of custom towing mirrors. We can fit the most any tow vehicle. And if for some reason we can't match a set of custom mirrors to your vehicle, we do have some universal ones that we can clip on your existing mirrors. It's really nice to be able to see behind you when you're going down the road. Okay, now we're back in our Montana fifth wheel that we've been talking to at various points during our discussion here today. We're here in the kitchen. I'd like you to take you through the refrigerator and a few other things here in the kitchen. Right here we have a 14 cubic foot French door Norcold refrigerator. This particular unit happens to be the largest one that we have in any of our campers. It's a very popular unit. All the shelves are adjustable, and we have 3 crisper drawers underneath. And one little tip that I'll try to pass on to you folks that my wife and I have been using for a lot of years that works very well. If you've ever loaded a refrigerator at home and gotten to your campsite, open a door to find some stuff falls on the floor, we sell this unit in our store. It's 3 little spring-loaded bars that go across these openings. So by utilizing these bars, it keeps everything on the shelves, so when you open your refrigerator door, not everything ends up on the floor. It's one of those little simple things that works real good. So now I'll close up the refrigerator doors and I'll show you what the freezer looks like. This particular unit has 2 separate freezers. It comes with 2 ice cube trays in each freezer. These are nice deep freezers. There's a lot of room in this unit. On the refrigerator here, I just wanted to point out for a moment just the controls to show you how easy it is to turn this on and turn it off and change it from different modes. To turn this refrigerator on, it's simply a matter of pushing this on-off button. And there's a mode here. Now when you first turn it on, it'll default to automatic mode. What that does for you is if your camper is plugged into power outside, it'll automatically detect you have 120 volts coming into the camper, and right now this refrigerator is getting cold in electricity. If I went outside and unplugged the camper, this would automatically switch to run a propane as long as your propane is turned on, and you've got a good 12 volt battery in the camper to make a spark for the fire as needed, and your refrigerator runs just fine on propane. It can also be left on in that mode when you're going down the road, so if you have a long trip to a campground, your refrigerator stays cold for the whole trip. Now, if you're at a campground and you're running your camper on a generator, some people prefer not to have the fridge jump back and forth from electric to gas whenever they turn the generator on and off. So they can change this mode button and run it in LP mode only, which means even if there's electricity present, it'll always run on gas. So it's entirely up to you. It's just another option available. You can also control the temperature on this one here. You can go 1 through 9 on the temperature mode. Most people run it on 5 or 6 like I do in my own fridge, and that seems to work just fine just like that. Over here we have a nice big convection microwave, so you can bake stuff in there as well as heat things up in like in a regular microwave oven. We have a 3-burner cook stove here. One of the popular items in our store that we sell a lot of is this cutting board that's made to go on top of the stove surface. It's a nice handy place to keep it. It provides a little extra counter space if you ever need to, and it gives you a nice big cutting board surface. In order to use your stove, you first have to lift up the cover. And this cover is hinged in the middle, so when you lift it up, you fold it back like that, and it stays out of the way very nicely. Now this unit has a 3-burner stove, and it's all propane gas, of course. To use the stove, it's simply a matter of turning on a burner, clicking the igniter once. Now we don't have the gas turned on in this camper right now. If we did, you'd have a nice flame in this middle burner. Every time you click the igniter once, it makes a spark for each burner. So no matter which burner you turn on, it'll light it. You can have all 3 burning at the same time, of course, or just one if you want. It works really nice. Now, to light your oven, you have to manually light the pilot light first. Now, for those folks that haven't done that, let me explain the process. I understand you may not be able to see everything real well, but I think I can talk you through it well enough so you can visualize what I'm doing. You have to put this knob right here in the pilot position and open the door to your oven. Now, underneath the bottom shelf inside the oven, about 3/4 of the way back, there's a copper-colored thermocouple. You'll have to get yourself, I call it a barbecue lighter or a Bic lighter, something with a long flame on it, a long lighter like that. You've got to light it and hold the open flame underneath that thermocouple while you have this in the pilot position and you're pushing this in. So you're going to hold it like that for about a minute. After about a minute, you pull away the barbecue lighter. If your pilot light stays on by itself, now you can take your hand off the knob, and now your pilot light is lit for the oven. To use the oven, it's simply a matter of turning it on. Now when you go to shut the oven off, if you just go up to the pilot position, your oven will go off, but your pilot light will stay on. So if you want to use the oven again later on the same day or the next morning for breakfast or something like that, just come out and just turn the oven on. And that pilot light is a very, very small flame. My wife and I live all summer long in our camper, and I leave my pilot light on all summer long, which makes it very convenient for us. It doesn't use hardly any gas at all. But before you head down the road with your camper, you should always shut it all the way off for safety's sake. Over here at the sink, this unit has a nice pull-out sprayer, which is very handy. We also have these little mini strainer sets that I recommend to people. They're sized to fit right inside of one side of these sinks. They work really, really nice when you're camping. Makes your washing dishes quick and easy matter. Something else over here that I try to recommend to people, I use one of these in my own camper and it works real handy. It's a little voltage meter. It just plugs into any socket you might have in the camper and it monitors the voltage coming into your camper. As long as your needle's in the green, you've got sufficient voltage inside your camper to run your microwave or to run your AC units, which really use a lot of electricity. If the needle's in the red, then it's not safe to use your microwave or to use your air conditioner. Now, under low voltage, your air conditioner will run, but it's going to be running warm because it's on low voltage and you may prematurely burn out your compressor. So keep an eye on the needle. If the needle's in the green, it's safe to use that stuff. And that's pretty much it for my walk through the kitchen area here. Here in the kitchen table area, just a couple things I wanted to point out. One is all these chairs come with storage underneath the seats. Lift up the seats like that. It makes a good place to store some placemats or some magazines or anything else that you may have that would fit in that kind of a space. Also, these tables have a couple features that I usually point out to folks when I'm doing my walkthrough. One is the fact that these tables all have a very nice extension like this. So if you're sitting here with 4 adults eating your dinner, a little bit extra space really makes quite a lot of difference. Gives each person a little bit more elbow room when they're eating here at the table. And as you can see, it goes in and out very easy. Another thing that this table does is the table bottom is secured to the floor, but the table top can slide back and forth either way. So when you go to sit down at the table, if you pull your chairs all the way back, it makes it very easy to sit down at your chairs. When you sit down, you can pull the table towards you, and when you're all done, you can push the table away. It makes it real nice to get in and out of your chair. Another thing is this particular table has a drawer in the back side here that you can open up from either side of the table for storing flatware or things like that in this as well. And this mechanism here that allows it to slide back and forth, you need to lock that in place before you travel. There's a couple of convenient clips underneath the table that you can put in place to lock this so this does not move while you're traveling. This makes a real nice table setup. I just want to point out these nice comfortable chairs. I have the exact same chairs in my own camper and I really like them a lot. They're very comfortable to sit in, and they each have a little strap here like this. So you pull on the strap, now it turns into a recliner, so when you're watching TV, you got something very comfortable to sit on. All right, here on the living end of the camper, we have a few things I want to point out to you. First of all, we have a nice fireplace in this unit. Now, it's 90 degrees outside today, so I don't even want to look at a fireplace that's actually on, because it's going to make me hotter than I already am. But this unit works really nice. It's got a very realistic flame that looks in there, so it actually looks like it's a gas fireplace when it's on. Also, it has heating elements built into it. And in my own camper, I have a fireplace like this, and I can heat my camper down to about 45 degrees outside just by using the fireplace. They work real well, and they're very, very quiet. You don't have to listen to the furnace run or the fan run. It makes a real nice unit. Behind the fireplace, there's a TV here, and I'll just raise that just a few inches and then lower it back down. The TV just pops up, and you can watch TV when you want to. When you want to look at the television, it comes down, and you've got a nice big flat area here for whatever you wish to use it for. Now right next to the TV and the fireplace, you have a little desk set up right here. And this chair right here can be used, of course, as a chair. It's also a very nice step stool, and you have some higher cupboards in this camper where a step stool would come in very handy. To use this as a step stool, the cushion comes off like this, accessor like this, and there's a little catch underneath the chair. It's simply a matter of releasing this catch, doing this with your chair, and now you've got a good rugged step stool to use so you can reach all your upper cupboards. A lot of people like this feature. It works really, really nice. To make it back into a chair, it's simply a matter of folding it back up, putting this clip in place, putting the cushion back on. You know, you've got a fifth chair to use in the camper for anything else that you want when you're not using it at your desk. Okay, here at the sofa, there's a few things I'd like to point out. First of all, most of our units have a sofa with a drawer underneath it like this, which makes it nice, easy storage for bigger things. This particular camper has central vac in it. So in here is a bag with all the hardware that comes from the central vac setup. That's a real nice unit. Also in this camper here, there's an extra stand here. This is for your television. It's provided in most all of our campers. So in the wintertime when you're not using your camper, if you want to, you can take your TV out of the camper, bring it in the house, use this stand, and then you got an extra TV you can use in the house in the winter months, which is kind of nice. I want to point out this drawer does have a 50-pound capacity, so you can't load it up with bricks, but you can put a lot of other stuff in here that works really, really nice. And when it's closed, you never even know there's a drawer there. Now this unit also makes into a bed. To do that, you're going to grab the back of the couch right here in the middle of the rail and pull this whole thing forward. The whole thing rolls forward a little bit, and I usually just help out these cushions a little bit as they're going across the top of the couch. That goes out and stops just like that. And then these two legs, you unfold the unit like this, and these legs come out, they sit on the floor. Now inside this big bag here, there's an air mattress with an electric pump on it. Now let me unzip the bag here. And here's the electric mattress. Okay, now when it's all blown up, if I can show you a picture here, this is what it looks like when it's all blown up. This fills this whole space from the end of the couch all the way to the wall, and actually has a nice little pillow end on the end of the mattress, so when it's blown up it really makes a nice comfortable bed. Now again, I said this is an electric mattress. There's an air pump built into the mattress right here. Behind this little cover there's a cord about 6 foot long, and there's plugs provided to plug it into. This has an inflate and a deflate position. So when you're going to use this, what you would do is unroll it, plug it in, put it in the inflate position, and watch it blow up. Usually takes about 2.5 or 3 minutes to blow it up. Then you make your bed and use it for the night. In the morning when you're all done, if you use the deflate position, it'll actually suck all the air out of the mattress, so it makes it easier to fold back up, and it actually fits in the bag when you're all done. Also provided with these mattresses is a 12-volt pump. So for you folks that do dry camping and don't have electricity provided, by putting 4 D-cell batteries in this pump, you can use this pump to blow the mattress up, so you never have to huff and puff to blow the mattress up. There's also a little patch kit provided in there as well, so in the event that you poke a hole in your mattress, there's a little patch kit provided for that. So when you're all done using this, it's simply a matter of folding everything back up into the bag, zipping this bag back up, folding this back up, folding the legs in, and then rolling these back. And that's all there is to taking your couch from a bed and back. Here in the bathroom of our Montana fifth wheel, okay, I want to talk to you just about a few things in here. First of all, this has a porcelain toilet in it, and there's a foot pedal on the right hand side of the toilet. Now to operate the toilet, you push on the pedal just a little bit to put water in the bottom of your bowl. You push on the pedal all the way to flush it down. Okay? And like I mentioned when I was outside, be sure you use a lot of water when you use your toilet. The more water that ends up in your black tank, the easier everything flushes out the tank, and you can keep it nice and clean. There's a couple of products you need to use when you're using your toilet. First, you got to keep in mind that what we have in our campers are chemical toilets. So you need to put a chemical down there that does 2 things. First of all, the chemical breaks all the solid material. The second thing it does is keep the smell down. This particular product, OxyChem, is our most popular black tank chemical. The way you would use this is there's a scooper inside here. You put a little bit of water in the bottom of your bowl. You use 1 level scoop of powder. You put that in the water, and then you flush it all down with another half a gallon of water or so. And that's good until your black tank fills up. When it fills up, of course, you'd empty it all out, flush it out, and start this process over again. This container will last 16 fills of your black tank. So it's a very cost-effective product, and like I said, it lasts a long time. Another thing that we haven't talked about yet that's very important to use is RV toilet paper. Now this is a lot different than your house toilet paper. This dissolves almost as soon as it gets wet. So as soon as it ends up down inside your black tank, it starts dissolving. It makes it easy to be flushed out the pipe when it's time to empty the tank. Okay, this particular unit here is a double ply roll. We do have some single ply in the store as well. It's personal preference, it's entirely up to you. But again, it's very important to use RV toilet paper. And one last thing here in the bathroom that I want to point out is this GFI plug right here. Now when I was outside, I showed you where there's a 120 volt plug on the outside of the camper. And I said if that plug ever goes dead, you need to come inside and push the little reset button to reset the plug. This is where you would come to reset that plug. So most all of the plugs in the camper are daisy chained off this one GFI plug. So if any of those plugs go dead, the first thing you should do is come and push that reset button before you start interrogating your fuse panel. This particular bathroom has a fantastic fan in the ceiling. The controls are very easy to use. By pushing this button once, it turns it in automatic mode. The vent cover goes up on the ceiling and the fan will come on. And there's a little meter here in the side, and it's actually the amount of humidity in the room. The higher the humidity, the faster the fan will run. And you can also put this in manual mode, and you can control the speed of the fan as you need it. It actually works very, very nice, and also has an automatic rain sensor on it, so that if it rains, when the vent is open, it'll automatically close. So if you leave the camper with the vent open, you don't have to worry about the weather coming in when you're gone. It's a real nice feature. They're nice and quiet. They move a lot of air without making a lot of noise. I'd just like to point out the inside of the shower stall. These Montanas have a very nice height adjustable shower stall. You can just push this black button here, and then the shower head can be raised up or down for your convenience. You can also take the sprayer off and hold it in your hand as you wish. And you can also direct the water down below and fill up a shallow bathtub, looks like you would your tub at home if you have a little baby you want to give a bath to or whatever. It's a real nice unit, and there's plenty of room. Even a big fellow like me, I can turn around inside the shower stall without rubbing my shoulders on a cold glass door. I kind of like this in my own camper, and that works real well. Here we are in the bedroom of our Montana. There's a few things in here I wanted to point out. One of the first things is this antenna on the roof. This is the antenna that's designed to work with the televisions in the camper. To use this antenna, you turn this handle clockwise about a dozen or 15 times until you feel it stop. When you feel it stop, don't force it, just there. Now this antenna is standing about 30 inches high above your camper roof. You can also turn the antenna like the old rabbit ears on an old television, if you will. All you have to do is pull this ring down, and now you can turn the whole antenna on the roof. So if you've got your television on, while you're watching the reception, as you're turning the antenna, you can turn the antenna until the TV comes in the best. It works really, really well. A couple very important things to remember when you go to take the antenna down. First of all, there's a little point on the roof right here, a little arrow, if you will, on a ring that's stationary to the roof. When I turn the antenna, there's another little point that turns with this ring. These two rings must match before you take the antenna down. That ensures that the antenna comes down in its correct spot on top of the roof. The second thing you don't want to forget to do is take the antenna down and turn the crank opposite direction until you hear it touch down on the roof. There, like I just did. Now what a lot of folks will do is a little tip. Well, they'll hang their car keys from this handle. So if they run the antenna up, they put their car keys on there. It's just a reminder that, oh, before I get the car, I gotta get my keys. Before I can do that, I should take the antenna down. Just a little helpful hint I'd like to pass along. Now, with this antenna over here to my left, in the closet in this camper, there's a panel here. And right here next to my finger, it might be difficult to see in the video, folks, there's a little green light right there. Now that green light is a booster off your TV antenna, and it really enhances your reception. So if you're going to be watching TV using the antenna, you want to make sure that green light is on so it maximizes your reception. However, if you're at a campground and where you're connected to cable TV, or if you folks decide to bring your own satellite dish along, you want to shut that green light off by pushing this black button right here, because that booster will interfere with cable and satellite reception. There's also a 12 volt plug up here. That 12 volt plug can be used by people that decide to have a 12 volt television, or in my own case, I use mine to plug in my cell phone charger. It makes a good place to charge that in. It's just like the charger on your car. Okay, moving around the bedroom here, I want to point out that there's a 110 volt plug on either side of the bed in this particular model, as well as one in the corner of the closet, which makes it real nice for people that have CPAP machines. That's a constant question I get from folks. Do I have a place to plug in a CPAP machine in my bed? In this model here, you've got plenty of plugs. Also, it's a nice place to plug in a clock radio or something else that you have. Also, on this other side of the bedroom here, you also have another plug, and there's a little desktop right here as well. So in this particular bedroom, you've got plenty of plugs to plug things in. It comes in very, very handy. One more thing I'd like to point out in the bedroom, in this particular bedroom, as in most of our campers, they have storage underneath the bed. Usually it's just a matter of just lifting up the mattress. And there's a top here that comes up with it. There's a couple gas struts that hold it up so you don't have to hold up the bed while you're looking at the storage. This unit here has quite a lot of room. There's also a safe in the corner where you can lock up your valuables while you're camping as well, which is very, very handy. It's just a matter of pushing down on everything to make the bed go down. Here's the control panel for this camper. Let me go through all these buttons here. This bottom one is for all the slides in this particular camper. This camper has all hydraulic slides. All I have to do is push the top of this button in, and each slide goes out one at a time until they're all out. When they're all out, just take your finger off the button. You just do the reverse when you're bringing them back in. For the water heater in this unit, there's two switches here. One for gas and one for electric. So you decide how you want to heat the water, you just push the appropriate button. You can turn on both buttons at the same time if you wish. It doesn't hurt a thing. All it does is heat the water a little quicker. That's a question I get asked by a lot of people as I'm doing my walkthroughs. This switch here is for the onboard water pump. So for you folks that are going to go dry camping, you're going to want to fill up your onboard fresh water tank before you leave home. When you get to your campground, you're going to want to extract water out of that tank. To do that, you'll turn that pump on. That pump will run for 15 to 30 seconds and it'll shut off. And whenever you turn on a faucet or flush the toilet or turn on the shower, whenever the water's running, you'll hear the pump run. And when you shut the water off, the pump will shut off by itself. What most people will do is they'll turn that pump on at the beginning of their camping weekend and then leave it on until they get ready to go home. As long as the water's not running, the pump isn't drawing any electricity, so it's very convenient. Whenever you turn on a faucet, you have water. This switch here I've got on, that's why the little red light is already there. I've turned on the ceiling lights in this camper. This switch here is for your porch light, and this switch here is to extend and retract your awning in the front of the camper. Moving up a row, we have another row of interior lights here in the camper, and you can see I've already got these turned on. And we have two switches here for security lights outside the camper. And they're marked DS and ODS. DS stands for driver's side, and ODS stands for opposite driver's side. And you can turn these switches on here. You can also turn those lights on or off with the remote control that comes with this camper, which is a very nice feature. If you come into your campground at night and it's dark around the camper, if you have the remote control with you, you can turn on those outside security lights. You can come into the camper without stumbling around in the dark. And when you get inside, use your remote control to shut those outside lights off. It works very, very nice. This big switch here is for the fan and a light, a big paddle fan that's in your living room ceiling here. And in here there's a series of small black buttons that may be kind of hard to see in the video, but what they do, they test the status of your battery and then your various water tanks. So you can see how your holding tanks are doing, how your battery is doing. It's very easy to check that out. This little control panel here is for a fantastic fan that's in the ceiling. It's just like the one in the bathroom that I showed a moment ago. If I push this once, it'll automatically open the vent cover, it'll turn the fan on, and again, this is a humidity meter here, and based on how high the temperature and humidity is, it'll make the fan run faster or slower, and you can also run it in manual mode. These controls here are for your furnace and your air conditioning. This little switch here turns on this panel, and you have two different zones in this camper. You have a zone 1 and a zone 2. And I'm not going to go through all the controls right now because they're different for every camper, and they're all very well explained in the owner's manual that comes with this camper. As you can see, zone 1 or zone 2, and then you have different modes. You have a mode for your furnace, a mode for your air conditioning, and a phone for just the fan that's in your air conditioning unit. And it's very easy to use. They also have an inside temperature and outside temperature probe in this particular unit as well. I'd like to go over our fuse panel on our fire extinguisher now. This fuse panel contains 120 volt circuit breakers and 12 volt fuses. The fuses in this particular unit are all 15 amp. Some of our units have fuses that go up to 40 amp. These fuses are identical to the same size and style that you might find in your automobile. The only thing I'd like to mention is that the units that have a 40 amp fuse Those 40 amp fuses can be a little difficult to find because most automotive fuses only go to 35 amp. So if you find yourself owning a unit that has some 40 amp fuses, I suggest you take advantage of the fact that we do sell them here at our dealership. Pick up a couple extra fuses, tape them inside your door so that if you ever need them, you've got them handy. Also, I'd like to mention that if one of these fuses ever blows, there's a little red LED adjacent to each fuse in this panel. If one of these fuses blows, the red LED light will come on, indicating to you which fuse is blown, so it makes it very easy to pick out. You don't have to search all the fuses in the box to find the one that's blown. And over here we have a fire extinguisher. Most of our units have a fire extinguisher that looks just like that. You'll notice there's a little green button on top of it. If you push this button down, like I just did, and it comes back up, that means your fire extinguisher has a good charge in it. If it ever doesn't come back up, then it's time to change it. In this unit here, we have 3 different types of detectors in this unit, and most all of our campers that we sell have the same setup. Right here above my head, this is a smoke detector. This has a 9-volt battery in it. Our suggestions are that you change the batteries twice a year, just like you would change your batteries in your smoke detector at home. Now I'll take you into the bedroom, and in the bedroom there's a carbon monoxide detector, and let me go take a look at that one here if you'll follow me. All right, here in the bedroom, where most all of our campers have a carbon monoxide detector, we have one right here. Okay, now this detector will tell you if your furnace malfunctions. That's its primary purpose. There's 3 AA batteries in there, and again, you'll need to change those twice a year, just like you change your detector batteries at home. So you need to change these batteries and the 9-volt battery in your smoke detector, again, twice a year. And then we're going to go on from here, and I'm going to show you where the LP leak detector is. It's in the kitchen area. We have one last safety detector here in the camper, and this is our LP, or propane gas leak detector. Now, it's very important that I explain a couple things about this. This is hardwired directly to your camper battery. It cannot be shut off. So you never have to worry about changing the batteries in this thing because it's on all the time. What that means is it's a constant draw on the battery in your camper. So if you were to park this camper near your home for any length of time and not have it plugged into shore power, this little detector will kill your battery in about 3 weeks. So you've got a couple of options. You should either keep your camper plugged in, which will always keep the camper battery topped off, or disconnect your battery when you're not using the camper. Now, some campers have a battery disconnect switch in them, which you can utilize to effectively shut that propane detector off. Or for some campers that don't have a battery disconnect switch, you can take the white lead off your battery, again, which will disconnect the battery power from the camper and not allow that detector to kill your battery. All right, now I want to talk to you about our Easy Care package just for a couple of minutes. Easy Care is something we try to stress to people that come to the dealership to buy a new camper, or even folks that are buying a used camper. It's an extended warranty for up to 7 years for our campers. If you think about the complicated electronics and the mechanisms inside these newer campers, having an extended warranty just makes good sense. They're priced very reasonably, and an awful lot of our customers take advantage of it. Another component of this is our fabric care. If you decide to purchase this, we'll come into a camper and we'll spray a Scotch Guard material all over your carpets, all over your cloth back chairs, and all over your curtains. It makes a lot of sense if you've got young children, or in my own case where I have 6 grandchildren that like to spill stuff on the carpet. If that's the case, everything mops up really easy with a paper towel and leaves no stains behind, so it makes it really easy to take care of your camper. All right, folks, this concludes our walk around. I hope that you have found this to be educational and informational. I'd just like you to know that any of the products, techniques, and methods that I've talked about today are available if you want to give us a call. We'll help you out in understanding the use of your new camper. Okay, all of our products are available in the store. They're also available online. Go to Pete'sRV.com. You can order anything you want from our website, or give us a call on the phone and we'll be glad to ship it to you wherever you are. Thank you very much.